Hello children, we know again with you for chemistry. Last time we had studied about elements. Now we are going to study about compounds. You know very well elements and compounds are the pure substances made up of same kind of particles or one kind of particles. So we were studying about chemical classification, in which we have studied about pure substances, in which we had completed elements. Just to remind you, elements are the pure substances made up of one kind of atoms. Whereas now we are going to study about compounds. Compounds are those substances, those pure substances which are made up of one kind of molecules. But this is not a definition. Here, just to remind you that pure substances are made up of one kind of particles. So here one kind of particles are what? Molecules. So compounds are the substances made up of one kind of molecules. Just little later we'll see the example. How we will define the compound technically or scientifically. Compound is the substance formed by the chemical combination or bonding of two or more atoms of two or more elements in a fixed ratio by mass. Means when two or more elements combine in a fixed ratio of mass, then they form compound. We'll find that, for example, here two elements are hydrogen and oxygen. When 2 gram of hydrogen combine with 16 gram of oxygen, if I make it simplest ratio, 2 1 ja 2, 2 8 ja 16, 1 gram of hydrogen combines with 8 gram of oxygen to form water, H2O, water. Means if I had to prepare water and I am going for reaction between hydrogen and oxygen, so I had to take both of the substances, both of the elements in a ratio. If I am taking 1 kg of hydrogen, then I need 8 kg of oxygen. If I take 3 kg of hydrogen, then I need 24 kg of oxygen. So in a fixed ratio of 1:8, when I take hydrogen and oxygen and allow them to react with each other in some specific set of conditions, then the compound formed is water. Same elements, hydrogen and oxygen. If I take ratio 2:32, that means 2 gram of hydrogen and 32 gram of oxygen. Simplest ratio, 2 1 ja 2, 2 1 ja 2, 2 6 ja 12. That means 1:16. 1 gram of hydrogen, 16 gram of oxygen are taken and they are allowed to react, then they will be forming hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. Now see children, here elements are same, hydrogen and oxygen, but reacting differently in different ratio. Here 1:8, here 1:16. When they are reacting in 1:8, they are forming water. When they are reacting in 1:16, they are forming hydrogen peroxide. So a compound, both are the compound. They are formed the chemical combination of two elements, but these elements are combining in a fixed ratio by mass. You all know mass of hydrogen is 1 gram if I take molar mass, if gram molecular mass, then if I gram atomic mass, and for oxygen it is 16, then we will find 1:8 will be its ratio, then water is formed. If I take ratio 1:16, that means oxygen is having 16 molar mass, hydrogen is having 1 molar mass. For 2 it will be 2 gram. For 2 oxygen atom it will be 16 into 2. That means 1:16. Then the compound formed is hydrogen peroxide. So here we will see compounds contain, if they contain the same element but in different ratio, the compound will be different. Now we will see another example of carbon and oxygen. If they are reacting, carbon is having molar mass 12, oxygen is having molar mass 16. Molar mass is gram atomic mass for elements, and for molecules it is gram molecular mass. We'll see little bit later. See, 1 into 12, 12 is the gram atomic mass of carbon. So 1 into 12, if I take 1 atom of oxygen, 1 into 16, 16 is the molar mass or gram atomic mass. Ratio will be 3:4. For 3 grams of carbon, 4 grams of oxygen are taken, then the compound formed is carbon monoxide. Compound formed is carbon monoxide. If same elements are taken in the ratio, 1 atom of carbon, that means molar mass is 12, it will be 12. 2 atoms of oxygen, molar mass is 16, then it will be 32. Simplest ratio, 4 3 is 12, 4 8 is 32. That means 3:2 ratio. 3 grams of carbon reacting with 8 grams of oxygen to give you CO2. The compound formed is carbon dioxide. So, what we observe here, that the elements are same, but they are reacting in different ratio by mass. They are forming two different compounds. So, a compound is a substance, pure substance, obtained by the combination, chemical combination of 2 or more atoms of 2 or more elements to form a molecule, and this they combine in a ratio, in a fixed ratio or definite ratio by mass. So here I spoke that they are the pure substance containing same kind of molecules. If you are having a cylinder filled with carbon dioxide, then each and every molecule will be of CO2, that is carbon dioxide. If I have water bottle filled with water, each and every drop containing the molecules, and each and every one drop contains about 10 to the power 21 molecules. These 10 to the power 21 molecules in a drop are, all of them are H2O, that is of water. So they are, a drop of water contains 10 to the power 21 similar molecules of H2O, that is water. So they are the pure substances containing same kind of molecules. So here we have seen elements, and now compounds. We'll be seeing mixtures. What are mixtures? Mixtures, usually we take some snacks in our food, along with our food, or in during tea time, to which we call mixture. What it contains? It contains number of ingredients mixed as per the choice of person who is making it. So we eat bhel. That bhel also contains same parmal and different kinds of vegetable chopped, and other kind of things also, like spices. So we'll find that they are mixed as per the choice of person who is eating it or who is serving it. So they are the mixtures made up of different kinds in our daily life which we are using. If we see in chemistry, what are the mixtures? Like, see, air. It contains 78% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen, and carbon dioxide 0.03%, and other gases like argon, hydrogen, water vapor, dust particle, and so on. So it contains number of the constituents, number of the substances, pure substances mixed in a, not in a definite ratio. Now you will say how they are not in definite ratio. See, now the air is polluted. It is containing more percentage of carbon dioxide. The day by day carbon dioxide percentage is increasing due to pollution, environmental pollution. So we find that it is no more having fixed constitution or fixed composition. So we'll find that here, in case of mixtures. Mixtures are the substances made up of two or more pure substances mixed in any ratio. Here definite ratio is not there by mass. So one example is there. Another example, if you will see that your sugar solution. Now in sugar solution, if you take 1 glass of or solution of glucose, that you want to drink Glucon-D, so you may add 1 spoon of glucose, you may 2 spoon of glucose, 3 spoon of glucose, as per your choice. All the solutions which are formed by adding 1 spoon of glucose in 1 glass, 2 spoon of glucose in another glass, 3 spoon, all these 3 solutions you will find are the mixtures. So here we are not specified with the particular about the composition of the solution. The 2 substances should be mixed in some definite ratio. No, it is not like that. So here they are the substances, they are not pure substances, they are the mixtures. They are the substances composed of 2 or more pure substances mixed in any ratio by mass. Okay. Now we'll see what is the difference. Like if we will see hydrogen and oxygen, when they are mixed in a 1:8 ratio and allowed to react in a particular set of conditions, then that will be what? That will be forming water, that is compound. In compound, hydrogen and oxygen lose their identity. You know, hydrogen is inflammable gas. Oxygen is the gas which supports the burning process, combustion process. So it supports the combustion of hydrogen. And water is what? It extinguishes fire. So if we see only one property, we find that they are different from each other. Hydrogen is a gas, oxygen is also gas, but water formed, that is a liquid. So we find 1 or 2 properties only. If we see, we find that compound is totally different from its constituent elements. Elements lose their identity. But here, if you are taking hydrogen and oxygen and they are mixed and kept in a cylinder without keeping in mind the ratio by mass and also not giving the set of conditions, then we will find it's only a mixture. Hydrogen will be not reacting with oxygen, not forming a compound. It is a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen only. Here in air we are having hydrogen and oxygen. Why don't we get water? When there is there is being a scarcity or lack of water, drinking water by the time. So we could have got this water from the air only, but we can't get, because hydrogen and oxygen, they are in the form of mixture there. They are not in a ratio and they are not having the set of conditions to be reacting. So we'll find that in mixture elements show their identity, constituents show their identities, whether they are element or compound. But in compounds, elements do not show their identity. Their identity changes. Compound is having totally different properties from the elements. We'll see their compounds are formed due to chemical combination. Here only physical mixing of 2 substances are there. So compounds, if we want to get element back, suppose I want carbon dioxide to give me carbon and oxygen back, I need to go for a chemical change. But for mixtures, if I need to find out oxygen out of this or nitrogen out of air, then I have to just go for fractional distillation. So simple physical methods can can give us the constituent of element separate or constituent of mixture separate, but in compounds chemical change is required to have the constituent elements back. Similarly, for a carbon dioxide we can't see carbon and oxygen separately, but here in some of the mixtures, not in air, not in sugar solution, if we see iron and sulfur, iron and sand mixed with each other, we can see iron separately, sand separately. So their constituent can be visible also with the naked eyes. We'll see more details now. Mixtures are of two kinds: homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture. Now, homogeneous mixture, homo means uniform, same. Such mixtures like sugar solution or salt solution, or we can take the example of air, solution of water and alcohol, will find that the two constituents are not visible to us. In sugar solution, we cannot, after mixing, we cannot have sugar separately visible to us. Salt solution, salt is dissolved. After dissolution, we are not able to see salt separately. In air, we cannot see nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide separately. Water and alcohol, when mixed, they become so intact with each other that we cannot say this part is water or that part is alcohol. No. So such solution where we are not able to see the constituents separately with our naked eyes, they have uniform composition. Uniform composition. What do you mean by uniform composition? Constituent means the parts of the substance, and the substances which are making a mixture or making a compound, that they are called as constituent. Like a sugar solution, sugar is one constituent, water is another constituent. In water and alcohol solution, we'll find that water is one constituent and alcohol is another constituent. So we are not able to see the two constituents separately. So what is the percentage of two substances? That is known as composition. So we'll see that they have the uniform composition. Means suppose you are having a vessel containing sugar solution. If you are taking upper solution from the upper surface, that will be having the properties, physical and chemical properties similar to the part which you had taken after stirring. Try to take it out from the bottom layers. We'll find from any part of the beaker, if you had taken the solution, all the parts which you had taken from the different parts of the beaker will be having same properties, same composition. Such solutions where we will find that each and every part of the solution or substance is having similar composition and similar properties, physical and chemical properties, will find that is known as uniform composition. For example, if आपने upper layer से solution लिया, the transparency at the upper surface and the transparency at the bottom level will be similar. If you will see the test of sugar solution from the upper surface or the bottom level, that will be similar. So we'll find all the passage of light through the solution from every part of the solution, that is from every part of the beaker, will be similar. So the properties are similar, composition is similar, percentage of solute and solvent, that means the two constituent is similar in all the parts, that is known as uniform composition. So which have homo means uniform or same, genus means composition. The which mixture which is having uniform composition throughout is known as homogeneous mixture. So here we call them as true solutions also. True solutions, their particles of solute are so small that they are not visible to us. For example, sugar is solute and water is solvent. The particles of sugar will, after dissolution, will become so small, means they are so small that they accommodate in the spaces between the water molecule and we will not be able to see them with our naked eyes. So such solutions are called as true solutions. Homogeneous solutions are true solutions. So these true solutions can be made up of, they may be solid solution, liquid solution, gaseous solution, depending upon the solid solution, liquid solution or gaseous solution, depending upon the solvent, the physical state of the solvent. What is solvent? In a solution, one component is taken in lower quantity, in very small quantity, and another component is taken in larger quantity. The component which is taken in a smaller quantity is solute, and the component which is taken in larger quantity is called as solvent. So we will see on the basis of physical state of solvent, we have the solutions, solid solutions, liquid solutions and gaseous solution. We can have further classification as solid in solid, that is alloys, copper and zinc make brass, copper and tin make bronze. We'll see solid in liquid in solid. What can be the example liquid in solid? Like water in cheese or water in butter. Butter contains a little water. So no, sorry, that is colloid. That is not a solution. Liquid in solid. Then we can have another example, gas in solid. And gas in solid means here hydrogen is adsorbed over surface of platinum or nickel, that is a solution, gas in solid. We have the solid in solid, liquid in solid, gas in solid. Another for liquid solution, solid in liquid, that is sugar solution, salt solution. Liquid in liquid, alcohol in water. Then liquid in gas in liquid. Oxygen dissolved in water. Oxygen gas dissolved in water. Oxygen gas dissolved in blood. We can have for gas solid in gas. Solid in gas, how can we say? Dust in air, smoke in air. Liquid in gas, chloroform in nitrogen. Then we'll see gas in gas, air, mixture of gases. Here liquid in solid, chloroform in camphor, chloroform in camphor. So these are the homogeneous solutions categorized into three: solid in solid, liquid in solid, gas in solid. Liquid solution: solid in liquid, liquid in liquid, gas in liquid. Gaseous solution: solid in gas, liquid in gas, and gas in gas. We'll see further heterogeneous mixtures. What are heterogeneous mixtures? Heterogeneous mixtures are those mixtures in which we see that particle size is such a large that they can be seen even by naked eyes or with the help of microscope. Particle size is larger than the true solutions, than that of the true solutions, or homogeneous. True solutions or homogeneous mixture. So particle size are so larger that they can be seen either by naked eyes or with the help of microscope. So we'll see homogeneous mixture had uniform properties, uniform composition. Here they have non-uniform properties and non-uniform composition. That means they are anisotropic. What do you mean by anisotropic? When the properties are different in different planes or different area of the solution, then we'll find that different parts of the solution will find that such substances are called as anisotropic. For example, if we take the soil solution or chalk powder in water, we'll find that chalk powder after some time will settle down. So properties will not be similar or uniform throughout. It will be different in different area of the solution, different parts of the solution. So such are called as anisotropic. They have the non-uniform properties. We can see the two phases separately because the particles are larger. So they don't have same phase, they don't have a single phase. They may have two or more different phases. For example, you had mixed sand and iron particles, iron dust and sand. We can see iron separately and sand separately. If sulfur powder and iron particles are mixed, we can see them separately. If we see, take milk. Though milk seems to be homogeneous, milk seems to be homogeneous, but it is not homogeneous, it is heterogeneous. Why it is heterogeneous? Particle size is larger than that of the homogeneous mixtures. Now these particles are so larger that they give their color or their properties to the solution. If we see that milk, we will find that milk though seems to be homogeneous, but yet the particles are dispersed in the dispersion medium. Now on the basis of the particle size, we'll see heterogeneous mixtures are also of two kinds. One is colloids, another is suspension. Now colloids have larger particle size, 100 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, than that of the true solution, which has the particle size lesser than 100 nanometer. Suspension particle size is even larger than colloids. Their size is more than 1000 nanometer. So we'll see that particle size, true solutions have smaller size than colloid particles have larger size than suspension particles further larger. Now colloids, we'll see, they seems to be homogeneous but are heterogeneous. Suspension seems to be heterogeneous itself. So we'll see that these colloids are stable than the suspension, but true solutions are totally stable. So we'll see that suspension are unstable. If they are kept on stirring, then they will be showing the properties of Brownian motion and Tyndall effect. Now what is Brownian motion? Colloids show Brownian motion. Now see here, what is Brownian? Particles move in zigzag manner. Particles move in zigzag manner. That is known as Brownian motion. So Brownian motion is shown by colloidal particles, and this Brownian motion can be shown by suspension only when they are in continuously dispersed. They are continuously moving in the solution and mixed in the solvent part. But if they are not mixed, they settle down, particles settle down, then they will not show Brownian motion. Now these colloids show Tyndall effects also. What is Tyndall effect? Suspension will also show Tyndall effect only when they are in dilute solution. When the particles are not settled down, then only they will be showing. But colloids always show. True solution don't show these motions, these Tyndall effect, because true solutions are transparent, they can pass light through them. Now what is Tyndall effect? Let us see. In Tyndall effect we will see that they pass the beam of light through them when, suppose this is a colloidal solution and we pass the light through them, then we'll find that the path of light is visible. This is solution, suppose a starch solution, and you pass the light through them, then the beam of light will pass through it in such a way that the path of light is visible. Due to Brownian motion of the particles, these particles scatter the light, and because of this we will find that path of light is visible, path of beam of light is visible. This is known as Tyndall effect. So we will find that colloids show Tyndall effect. They have Brownian motion, particle size is lesser than that of the suspensions, but yet they are heterogeneous. So whereas suspension are unstable, we'll find they are totally heterogeneous. The two phases are visible to us as iron and sulfur. They are visible to us. We can separate easily the component of the mixtures by physical method. Now when we are taking iron and sulfur, if we heat them in some definite ratio by mass, then we will get iron sulfide. And this iron sulfide is a compound. We cannot separate the sulfur and iron from it. For this we have to go for chemical change or chemical reaction. But whereas if we want to separate the mixture of iron and sulfur, then what we will do? Just we will bring a magnet and over the mixture, whatever iron particles are there, they will get attracted with the magnet and sulfur will left behind. So if we have salt and water, that is also a mixture, though homogeneous, can be separated, go for evaporation. Water being volatile will evaporate and non-volatile salt remain in the vessel. So mixtures are totally different from compounds. Compounds have definite ratio of elements by mass, but mixtures can be formed of either elements or compounds, or it may be a mixture of element and compounds. And here we will find that there is no definite ratio of mixing. There is no definite ratio. So we will find that they are easily separable. They have 2 or more phases. But if we will see, if they are heterogeneous, if we will see compound, they don't have any phase. They occur in single phase. Iron sulfide is solid. It will remain solid. So we'll see that here we have completed the chemical classification of elements, chemical classification of matter. Then further we will see plasma and Bohr-Einstein condensate, and then we will see for other terms, other basic terms, key terms of the chapter. Thank you. That's all.